Lucas Gage is here in Minnesota in person. It's awesome. And it's been great hanging out with you. I mean, you've enjoyed some time with the family, my family. We went to the hockey game. This is the farthest that the Minnesota Wild in the state of hockey, if they win this part of the series, it'll be the furthest that they've ever gone. So really exciting.
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, you just randomly like, hey, we're going to the game. I'm like, okay. And I'm like an introvert, man. Yeah. I'm like,
I'm sitting on the couch and, dinner was almost ready. And I asked my lady, like, is dinner almost ready? And she's like, yeah, it's ready now. And I'm like, all right, good. We're going to the Wild game. Starts in like 2 hours. So eat quick. It was a good time. Why you're here is also like weird, right? Because it's good. Because I think fellowship's really important, especially amongst men. They want to keep us away from doing that. Social media, X, AI, the internet. But I think it brings people closer together. It builds stronger bonds, and it makes a movement stronger. But why the two of us are aligned and why we're here having a conversation is just like, if you think about what you knew 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and the conversations that we're having now, like online and in person, the things that we realize, the information that we have access to, the content that brings us together is weird. Like, it's just like we're going to have a conversation about how we've been labeled the world's most foremost anti-Semitic, hateful people. So like, what brings you here? How did this all start for Lucas Gage?
So you want to go as far as like my life, like how far, like, I mean, really my truth-seeking, like awakening type of thing?
Yeah, because I mean, it's crazy how life works, right?
Yeah.
So, really, here you are on the couch, at the Stu Peters Network talking about some very pressing and very important, pertinent issues that are affecting humanity in the worst of ways.
Even as a young kid, I've always been curious about the world. Like, if I went to the doctor's office, like, oh, what's that for? What's this for? And he'd tell, oh, this is for your knee, that kind of thing. I've always been curious. My grandfather, he passed away. He was a philosopher. He was actually a professor at Syracuse University. So I have this, curiosity built into me. But my awakening didn't really start until while I was in the Marine Corps. So I did 2 tours in Iraq. And just the second tour, I was like, what are we doing here? I've seen oil trucks drive by. We're playing spades. Like, we're just wasting taxpayer money doing nothing.
Go back to that. Like, what? Yeah. Why did you enlist in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, of course. I should have definitely mentioned that. So I was 17 years old, and I was at the dentist, and I heard that a plane flew into a building. I go, ooh, that's a bad accident. Moments later, another plane. I go, oh, something's wrong with that. So I was in high school when 9/11 happened. And so I said to myself, well, someone's got to do something for this, for our country. And my grandfather, who I just mentioned earlier, he was in the Air Force. So I come from multiple generations of people who served. So he was in the Air Force. My great-grandfather was a Marine in the Department of War. Back then, that's what it was called. Not the Department of Defense, Department of War. So he was a Marine there. So I come from generations of people who served, and it just instinctually was like, I got to do something for my country. I got to fight for my country. So at 17, after 9/11 happened, and I fell for the narrative hook, line, and sinker, like every American pretty much did, I went out and I sought the recruiters. So there was actually, what was it like? It was like a career day at high school or something where like all the people show up, and I saw the Army, I saw the Navy, I saw the Marine Corps and Air Force. The Marine Corps colors and their just like image caught me. Like, I want to be the baddest guy, So I went up to the recruiter.
Baddest guy in the whitest pants.
Yeah. So I went up to the recruiter, and he's like, all right, yeah, well, here's what you got to get involved in. And so I was 17 at the time, and like, you can't join now, but you can do the delayed entry program, which means you hang out with the recruiters every Saturday for a year until you go to Parris Island to train as a Marine in the East Coast. So at 18, once I turned 18, 4 days after high school, I didn't go to summer and play with my buddies. I went right to boot camp, South Carolina, Parris Island. I started my training in that June, and I got out in September, and then I had to go to engineer school. Then I did military combat, Marine Corps combat training. And then from there, I was a combat engineer. So combat engineer is someone who supports infantry. So we blow up stuff, like we do mine sweeping, we blow up obstacles, we build obstacles, sandbags, barbed wire, that whole thing. So we supported the infantry in our first tour. But so anyway, going through boot camp, engineer school, and then in February 2003, on Valentine's Day, which is a key point because I'll bring it up later, I get deployed for my first time to Kuwait. So we go to Kuwait before we get our marching orders to go into Iraq. I'm in Kuwait, and then March comes by, 5 months in Iraq. So the Marine Corps, unlike the Army, is not an occupying force. We go in for 6 months total, then we go back. So my first tour was 5 months. Then the next year comes by. Literally, February 14th, 2004, I get another orders. We got to go ship out again. and support the mission again. So we go again to Iraq, this time for 6 or 7 months, actually, because our plane was delayed for a month. So I did 2 tours in Iraq for a total of a year. Now, as a Marine, I did my part, but I also had injuries. Like my legs messed up, I have a bad ankle. So what happened as I got back from the Marine Corps service in the field, they said, look, all right, you have a bad leg. Look, you can leave now, but we don't know if you'll get medically discharged, but we don't know if you're going to get your GI Bill. So you want to just knock out the 1.5 years left doing some kind of MIMS clerk behind the desk thing? I said, sure, why not? I want my GI Bill. While I was behind this thing, okay, I had access to computer. This is back in 2004 and 5. This is not like Google stuff. We had AOL and stuff like this.
You got mail.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So I think it was Yahoo at the time. And I keep hearing about this Battle of Fallujah. This was the big battle the Marines fought in Iraq. Battle, everyone's getting killed.
Mad Dog Mattis. Yep. Everything with a pulse is dead.
Yep, right. So I Google it, or whatever it was, Yahoo it, okay? And I see white phosphorus being used in Iraq. I'm like, what? Wait, why are we using white phosphorus on people? And I saw the people who were used it on, and they were burnt to a crisp, like literally skeletons. I'm like, wait, I thought we invaded Iraq because they have chemical weapons, but we're using it on them. And that was the first red flag.
Wow.
So I Google, I'm like, well, not Google, I keep saying Google, but I go, oh my God, man. So that was strike one, okay? So then just before I got out, 6 months before I got out of the Marine Corps, okay? So I've been behind the desk doing the research. My friend got a video from his brother. So my roommate, they had 3 guys into a room in a barracks. He got 9/11 loose change. Now remember, I joined the Marine Corps because of 9/11, hook, line, and sinker, towers, whatever. I never saw the videos again. We saw them collapse and that was it. They didn't just keep replaying them over and over again. So here's the first time I saw it get analyzed. And my buddy's like, let's put this in. We watched it. I'm like, wait a minute, that is pretty quick. What happened to those and building 7? What the hell is that? I didn't have no idea. Right? So I'm like, whoa. Okay, so they're saying, yeah, they lied about this. I'm like, so wait, I joined on a lie? I had 6 months left, so I knocked out the 6 months, got all my...
So deep.
Dude, it's hard.
If you think about everybody and their experiences and what they're going through now and how they're living their lives and what they've lost and sacrificed, it's so deep.
Dude, my identity was based on being a Marine. Like, thing is for me, actually, when I was in my first tour, I got in trouble. So I would have been like super life, like in engineer school, I excelled. I was the guide, meaning I had the highest grade. I was in front. I got meritorious Lance Corporal. I was supposed to get promoted to Lance Corporal meritoriously, meaning that not time and grade, because I was doing so well. But when I got to my first tour in Iraq, I actually got in trouble because I was writing to my girlfriend a stupid letter like, hey, we're going to do that. I stick figures. We're going to cross. I was like Mr. General in my brain, like LARPing, like Warcraft or something. And my fire team leader grabs it. What are you doing, Gage? I'm like, I'm just writing you can't do this. This is OPSEC. I'm like, what's OPSEC? I didn't know idea. I was 18. I was like, takes it to the sergeant. Now, this is where I learned the Marine Corps is bullshit, dude. Sergeant Balbuena, this guy, Cruz, or Guzman, gives it to Sergeant Balbuena. He's like, hey, what's this? Gives it to first sergeant, who's like, Gage, what is this? To the colonel. So this is why I stopped I didn't want to be in the Marine Corps. So within the months I got into the field, I know I'm going back because this is a very important point. I got in trouble, a non-judicial punishment, meaning that they just make a judgment on you. The colonel does. Okay. He's like, you violated OPSEC. They took my weapon away. I had no weapon. And now here's the thing. As a Marine, you have to always be by your weapon. And if you don't have your weapon, where's your weapon, Marine? Right? So I'm the only guy on this base in Kuwait with no weapon. And everyone's like, where's your, oh, you're that asshole. You're the guy who put us in danger. A stick figure drawing of a map. It's so stupid. Right.
I can see it.
So I got demoted. I lost my meritorious Lance Corporal and 2 months pay. Now this is war pay. This is more money. So I thought we were all brothers. Why didn't Guzman just rip it up and say, go fill up a sandbag, asshole? No, everyone's sucking dick to get to the top. They want to, exactly. So the colonel's like, all right.
Some things never change.
Exactly. So that's when I first learned it wasn't a brotherhood.
Yeah.
That's actually strike one. Then strike two was the Yahoo thing. Looking at and then strike 3 was this 9/11 loose change. So I had to go back in time because I'm reliving my life here. So those are the 3 strikes when I realized, okay, I got duped. Okay, the brotherly love bullshit, not true. Politics in the Marine Corps. Okay, then Fallujah, why are we using chemical weapons on these people? I thought we're the good guys. And then strike 3, look at these fucking towers and what's building 7. So after I got in the Marine Corps, the first thing I did was go to Italy. I was born in Italy. My mom's entire side's there. Did a 2
Well, you were born in Italy.
I was born in Italy, came here when I was 2 years old. Okay, so I've been here since, 19.
Anchor baby.
Yeah. No, my father's born in America, so he's Italian, but he also lived in Italy, so he came back. It was back and forth.
So like you're more like a settler, I would say.
I'm a colonist. Yeah. No, but what do you call it? So yeah, um, after the Marine Corps, I went to Italy for a vacation, and then I was going to go to college with the GI Bill. That's why I stayed for free, community college and everything. While I was out there, I had a book my friend gave me. We were the reptilians. We were all types of conspiracies at this point. I didn't know what was real. Like, my government lied to me. Why did they lie to me? I questioned all my reality, everything. He gave me this David Icke book. It was this thick. It was called The Lion Sleeps No More. In that book, David Icke mentions Rothschild Zionists. And his argument is that the Jews sacrificed Jews to make Israel. So like the Holocaust was real, but they burned them alive to make Israel. I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. But I remember the Rothschild Zionism, in my head. So years later, I went through all the conspiracies, everything, hollow earth, reptilians, ghosts, goblins, everything. And around like 2012, I remember this Rothschild Zionism. Like, nobody likes the bankers. I said, who hated the bankers the most? Hitler. And I remember, wait a minute. Why did he hate the Jews? Wait a minute, who's that? Rothschild was a Jew, and he's a banker. And that's when I read Mein Kampf.
Yeah, the central banking cabal.
That's exactly what it started.
That's the Rothschilds. So, and everybody who's rejected it, not just Hitler, but Muammar Gaddafi and, Bashar al-Assad and Saddam Hussein. They executed this guy on the international stage, live on television, not because of weapons of mass destruction or incubator babies, No. But because he was developing his own form of monetary exchange. Yes. And who's doing it now? Vladimir Putin. Why is he the world's boogeyman?
Yeah, well, that's BRICS and everything. Right. So anyone that has their own banking system, they can't have that competition. So I learned about this Rothschild thing. I read Mein Kampf. Now, this is like a shifting moment for me.
So how long ago was this now?
This is 2012.
You read Mein Kampf?
In 2012 for the first time. Because I like, Hitler hates the Jews and the bankers are Jewish. I was like, oh God. As I'm reading Mein Kampf, I started tearing up, because my whole life I was taught he was evil. Like, my whole life was, this guy's the most evil guy in the world, and he's killed everyone, he's taken over the planet, and I'm reading, and he's like, the media is controlled by Jews. I'm like, and then at that time I think there was Google, and I was Googling it, and it's okay, and he says, when you talk about them, they'll attack you, and the media will, So when I learned about this, I made a video, and it went viral. About this whole thing. It really was white genocide that got me to make the video. So the first video I ever made about this thing is called a Call of Duty. Everyone must stand up against white genocide. It went viral as hell. David Duke picked it up. Everyone, this is how I got in the scene, right? Because I was a former Marine, talking about this. So it wasn't even that Hitler, he woke me up to this Jewish supremacy thing, but it wasn't that I said, okay, well, maybe that was back then it happened. But surely it's not anymore.
But think about the power of that. You've never been allowed to listen to anything that this man ever said. All you saw was propaganda videos of this guy screaming very angrily. Joe Rogan, when he listened, do you think that he was really ready for that?
No.
Do you think that he knew what he was going to hear and what his audience live on air was going to hear when he started listening to Adolf Hitler? And this is why you're not allowed. I can't go and visit Vladimir Putin. Right. I don't know why Tucker Carlson was able to. We can speculate why he was able to. But I'm not allowed to go do that because I would be viewed an enemy combatant coming back into my own country. I could be held at Gitmo you're not allowed to hear from the leader of another nation.
Yeah.
If they are adversarial to who?
Jewish banking.
And so when you're saying things like, I teared up or I got choked up or whatever it was when you were in the middle of reading Mein Kampf, was it because of that? Was it like, I really do live under the empire of lies? Everything that I've ever done in my entire life has been based on fallacy and propaganda and gaslighting and lies. And that includes so many, we can get into Christian Zionism too, but think about the 30 million Christian Zionists here who think that they're hearing the word of God when they go to church, and their pastor, whether it's, the Hagees or, Greg Locke, whoever it is, I believe that my pastor's telling me the truth. Obviously, he's a pastor.
Well,
so everything in your life, all the decisions that you've made have been based off this lie.
Stu, my identity was fighting for America. My grandfather used to tell me America's the greatest country in the world. That's what he used to tell me, because he was in the Air Force. He was a major in the Air Force intelligence. He spoke 8 languages. He was in the Korean War. His father was a Marine. He was in the Department of War. So I was a proud American fighting for my country. To learn that Adolf Hitler, the worst enemy in human history, forget Mao, Forget Stalin. That doesn't matter. 60 million people, 30 million. No, Hitler. This one specifically is the most evil person ever created on this planet, right? Worse than the devil. For those of you who are Christian, he's worse than the devil, right? And to learn that what he's saying is true, I'm like, but this can't be. He's evil. Why is he telling the truth? Because I would check this. I fact checked him. I was fact checking this guy. And look, I was a Marine. So my identity is based on this guy being wrong. My identity is based on Saddam being wrong. He didn't have, that's another thing. We learned he didn't have, so I should have the biggest defenses up. Like, no, it's a lie. No, I couldn't. And again, my grandfather's a philosopher. It's in me to be one. So I had to accept it. There was no fallacy. It led to the truth. I fact checked it, if you want to call it that. And it was there. Like everyone in the bank was Jewish. The media was Jewish. And then here's when it really hits too. When I came forward and said what I learned, remember, free speech, suddenly all of these Jews started attacking me. It's the first time. When I talk about white genocide and Jewish power.
So this was from that video that you did?
Yeah. So this went viral. And all of a sudden people were stalking me, blogs, calling me anti-Semite, Nazi, Hitler. I'm like,
where were these things appearing? Like, how'd you come across
all over
them?
the place on blog. There were blogs. Like, stop, whatever, anti-Semites.
Did somebody point it out to you? Like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, no, on Facebook, because back then, Facebook, you could say whatever you want. So there are all these networks and stuff like this. So people started stalking me and lying about me. And this is new to me. I'm not a public figure. This is when I just woke up. I'm just a Marine who woke up. So I thought telling the truth. So Hitler said, when they attack you, you'll know. So I didn't really believe Jews ran the world until they attacked me. If they said nothing, I would have said, oh, maybe back in Hitler's day, there was Jewish supremacy and white. Now it's gone and it's gone. No. They started attacking me, which proved everything he said true to me. You see what I mean? Because if they just, nothing happened, oh, well, maybe this guy's weird and, whatever.
So once you start to learn that Hitler isn't the guy that you have been programmed your entire life to believe that he is, and now you've seen that Israel's fingerprints are all over 9/11, or at minimum, just that it was all a lie.
Yeah. Then
where do you go from there? Like, I mean, so USS Liberty, how did this
the first thing
roadmap look?
So remember, the first thing I was supposed to was this 9/11 loose change. So again, that movie does not mention the Israelis or the Jews. It just mentions, Bush did, some stuff like that. So a lot of these movies, actually, they just put you the wrong direction. Now we understand why it got so popular. It wasn't saying it was the Jews.
They tell you it's a lie and that it didn't go down the way that you've been told, but...
Exactly. So a lot of these documentaries that blew up about 9/11 and a lot of these other theories, there were no planes and all this other stuff, they're there to put you away. You could debate how it took place, but who did it is the key. I don't care. There's a magician, right? He did something. I don't know what but he's a Jewish magician, and that's what we want to know. No, it was some kind of Saudi magician.
Magic in and of itself is just demonic. Yeah. So,
but I'm just saying the point is they don't tell you who's behind the attack, so they'll blame some other person or they'll make up something about it. But I learned about this Jewish problem thing. I spoke about it. I was on David Duke's show. I was on the Daily Stormer, Andrew Angelo. I was all over the place. I became this white nationalist figure. And at that time, I was like, oh my God, my race is under attack. That's what got me to make the video. So it wasn't even about the Mein Kampf woke me up. I started reading Culture of Critique, Kevin McDonald. I read David Duke's books, My Jewish Supremacy and My Awakening.
Yeah.
Because I remember he's evil too, right? Isn't he? He's another one that's pure evil.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Grandmaster Wizard of the KKK, my God. You go by that guy, I mean, you are Hitler. You're a Nazi.
If you ever speak to him, and I spoke to him before in person, I spoke to him at that time on Skype. Nicest guy in the world, Southern gentleman, kind, nothing like the Klansman is going to burn you alive. Like the guy.
Did you get a word in edgewise? Dr. Duke, he likes to talk.
He does like to talk. He's very educated.
Yeah, he is.
Nicest guy in the world. So even he's not what they make you seem to make. And he was on the Hodge Twins recently. Everyone's like, wow, you're not. Yeah, exactly. That's how powerful this Jewish media is.
I went on the Hodge Twins and they were like, wow, we told people we were sitting down with Stu Peters. It was like, you're Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you sitting down with this Nazi?
Yeah.
White supremacist.
That's how powerful the media is today. Imagine back then it was just radio and newspaper.
I got to tip my hat to those guys too, real quick. Yeah. I mean, those guys, as mainstream as they are and as set as they could be, for them to be entertaining conversations with people like me, people like Jake Shields, Dan Bilzerian, Nick Fuentes, they should have you on.
Yeah, well,
they should definitely have you on. I will text them and let them know. I think that they should have you on. I think that's something that we're missing in this. I think we're missing the corridor to one another, the information stream and platform sharing. Like, if you're saying something that has power, I want to amplify that to my audience, right? So that's the whole idea of me having you here, sitting down in the Uncancelable studio, sitting down in the other room at the Stu Peters desk. I mean, it's important for me that my audience hears what you're saying. I amplify Jake. I amplify Dan Bilzerian. I amplify Candace Owens. I mean, if anybody's talking about this, I amplify them. And I think that that's not. I think that that's not consistent throughout our movement. I think that there's a lot of people who like to gatekeep their connections or their audience.
Yeah.
They don't want to let people know that Stu Peters exists by having me on, because then they might like me and then they might tune into me. Like, I think that's ridiculous. So I got to tip my hat to the people that are doing it. People like the Hodge twins. I mean, they were so mainstream. They can never go back at this point.
Oh no,
because
and I applaud them for being brave like that.
Yeah,
and they're real about the race thing too. I mean, they're black folks. I hate black people.
so we're on this roadmap, and so it was okay. Where do you go from okay, Hitler isn't the person that I.
Well, so now once the Jews started attacking me, and I mean blog obsessive, like I'd never had someone stalk me. And by the way, I was doxxed in 2015. I was doxxed years ago, and no one's ever swatted me. That's another weird thing, and I'll get into that later, because we'll get into that swatting thing, of course, I'm sure. But like, I had people stalking me, doxing me, and I was like, what's happening? What did I say? Isn't this true? It didn't matter. And that's when I started seeing, wow, what I read in Mein Kampf, what I read in David Duke's books, Kevin McDonald's books, all the books that I read, everything. Codriano, I read every book you can imagine, just consuming JQ
Did
books.
you read Behold the Pale Horse?
No, I have. That's Bill Cooper. But I haven't.
Did you read New World Order?
No.
See, those were the ones that I read right after 9/11. I was living in LA when 9/11 happened, pursuing my rap career. I was taping at Enterprise Studios. It's closed down now. Working with people like Rock Wilder, and I mean, like, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And when these towers came down, I was actually in Montclair, California, and I was, I had no money. Like, I'm living in the projects. I'm living in the ghetto. But anyway, I look up at my little tiny TV, and it's September 11th, and these towers are on fire, and there's smoke all over Manhattan, and like, it was like, what is going on?
Well, I actually saw them on fire because I lived in New Jersey at the time.
Yeah.
And so,
but I mean, it's like something that nobody that was old enough to recall being alive will ever forget where they were on that day.
Oh yeah, exactly. At the dentist, I remember on the radio. Tower.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but I got to see them because I live in at the time was Warren, New Jersey, and there's a place called Greenbrook. New York City was over there. So there's a place called Washington Rock in Greenbrook, where George Washington looked out into the bay to see the British. The British are coming, right? So there I saw the skyline, and I just saw it, just smoke, the whole thing. So the towers are still up when I got on the way back. I went back to my sister was in school. She was a freshman. I was a senior, and my other sister was not. So I went home. Then I saw I was on TV. I was watching it. I'm like, these are going to fall. That's what I thought. I didn't know anything about engineering. I'm like, oh, are these going to collapse? And then they did. I'm like,
well, they have to collapse just because of the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so
you got to keep going though, because now you're being stalked and all of this stuff. So like, where does this take you? Like, then do you like, I'm Lucas Gage and I am going to be the Jew warrior now?
Well,
like, I'm going to fight the Jews.
At the time, we'll get to my name change because my name was Angelo John Gage at the time.
Okay.
So Angelo John Gage was my birth name. Now it's Lucas. I legally changed it. We'll get into all that. Why that even happened.
Are you working a job at this time?
No. So I was, where was I? I was in Newark, New Jersey. My friend hooked me up with a energy consulting gig. So you would go into a business and be like, hey, I could.
It's like a fake job.
No, it's a real. Actually, it was real. They just they deregularized energy. So before the utility companies,
that's a noble thing to do.
Yeah. Well,
deregulate anything.
Yeah. Well, the energy companies had a monopoly on the supply and the creation. They don't make energy. So pick your electric company. They don't make it. They buy it from energy companies.
So just like you're working a full-time job, you're living your life, but on the side, you're being harassed and you're being bullied and you're being stalked by Jews, and you're seeing these blogs. How do you react? Like, does this then become you pick up the mantle? Like,
well, just to say, I worked this. It was commissions on me. So that, but also I did life coaching because I was trying to heal myself. And also before that, I tried massage therapy. I tried many things.
Life coaching for like veterans or?
I wanted to learn I learned NLP. That's why I'm so good at what I do, because I learned neurolinguistic programming is what these bastards use on us. Right? And it's kind of like a hypnosis. It's also like, it's getting over issues.
King Bao is really into NLP.
Yeah,
he's the one that he put me up on NLP.
Yeah. Well, Tony Robbins, if you guys know who he is, that's what he does.
It's really big. Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, especially like the CIA. They use that NLP stuff. And then you want to know why Tucker Carlson was so captivating in his monologues and using yes ladders and all of these things. This is neuro-linguistic programming.
That's right. And I know it. And I did 2 years. So that's the one thing. So here's how I found out I have PTSD. So when you have PTSD, I went to college, for university for free, but I dropped out literally the same time in May. So I did really well. 383 GPA, whatever the case. First time I haven't gone to school in forever. I dropped out, not interested. Did the same courses again, did the same teachers. Hey, you're back? Yeah. Right? I got them forgiven because of my PTSD. All my scores back. Then I dropped out again. I said, I'm not going to do this. There's something, I don't finish anything. I did finish. Remember, my energy consultant, my boy gave me a job. No cap. You can do whatever you want, right? There's no limit to the amount how much commissions you do. Bigger the project, the better. I quit that. Massage therapy, halfway through doing massage. I'm like, I'm not going to be on a cruise. What am I going to do with the massage? I was good at it. Quit. NLP, I did not quit. I did 2 years.
Work on a cruise ship.
That's what I wanted to do. A single guy working on a cruise, right? But I was like, no, that's I'm not going to do that. But NLP, I finished. So I did 2 years. It was at the...
You took a wrong turn. I mean, instead of sitting here talking about
Jews, I could have been.
Yeah,
I could have been on a ship massaging women.
How many kids do you think you'd have illegitimate by now?
I'd be like Andrew Tate. I have 10 kids.
Spreading the Angelo seed everywhere. But yeah, I mean, okay, so yep, no, you're not doing that.
So I did NLP to learn my own issues, and I learned how to overcome them in many ways. And so I did 2 years at Master Practitioner, so I understand it very well. So after that, I opened my own life coaching business. Right, very shortly. So of course that also quit, and that's when the whole Jew thing happened, and then I went into activism. So that's okay. I know I'm going all over the place.
Take us there. What is activism?
But activism now, I'm on Facebook and I'm on all these other shows. I'm doing radio shows. I was on David Duke's show. I was on Andrew England's show.
What kind of radio shows?
Just radio, like actual radio, like David.
Guys are having you in on the radio to just talk
on
about
Skype. On Skype, I wasn't doing. We weren't doing this.
Yeah, but I mean, so you're doing radio interviews. What line of questioning? Like
how did you wake up? Same thing here.
Okay.
Just to learn who I was, because it was motivating that a former Marine woke up to white genocide.
What year is this?
This is around 2012, 13, 14, that kind of time. Yeah.
That's really the big deal. Is the white genocide?
Yeah. I mean, that's what drove me to say
actively
things.
Happening.
Right. Because again, Hitler could have had beef with the Jews and it ended, but no, it's still going. It's the same Jews.
Those are, I think, the two biggest things is that to keep hiding the white genocide is very important.
Oh yeah,
they got to do that, and then to protect the economic system, the stranglehold that they have over finances with the Federal Reserve and all that. Like if you start fucking with that, that's big problems.
Yeah, so they're not. Yeah, that's the one competition they will not tolerate is financial competition. They don't care what your laws are. They don't care if it's gay marriage or not.
They have their own laws, the Noahide laws. Exactly. I mean, we could talk all about that. Those are being enforced under Trump. I mean, nobody could have done this for the Jews the way that Trump is doing this.
Biggest shot.
Kamala Harris couldn't have gotten away with it. Joe Biden couldn't get away with it. They had to use Joe Biden, in my opinion, to make the country look to normies as if it was as devastated as possible and in as much decline and decay as possible, because we live very much on hope.
Yep.
It's I think the spirit. The human spirit is like it's built into people that you have to hope in something. You have to worship something. You have to believe in something. And there's a lot of things that you should believe in, but I think that a lot of people, kind of misappropriate their idolization.
Well, they made Trump the Goy Shiach, right? Instead of the Moshiach, they made him the Goy.
No cap.
Trump is so bad that anything other than I'm sorry, Biden's so terrible and Kamala's so crazy. Anything other than them is good. And that's why Trump came right in. And he has a cult of personality. His following, he could literally kill people. He could literally kill people and they'll still vote for him. He just pulled everyone. He just pulled everyone. And he's going to do another
Trump
one.
Coin, he's doing it again actively right now.
Based, right? So,
everybody in his orbit early on, before they knew they were going to do the dinner and the T-shirt thing, they all loaded up their bags. All of his insiders, they loaded up their bags, and then unfortunately, the people who actually want to support him and believe in him, they're the ones that end up getting fucked.
He already got the hat now, 2028 out officially, just yesterday.
What do you make of that?
I mean, look, he serves the Jews well. He'll be back in. They had to install him again. I mean,
so at any point were you like, okay, this is enough. I know all these things. Nobody's listening to me. Because, I mean, at that time, you had to be crazy.
Well, I actually founded my own group. So there was I tried to run for Congress for this thing called.
When was this?
This was 2014. So after I got put on the map, I actually joined.
Just before Trump announced.
No. Trump is.
He announced in 2015.
Yeah, so this is 2013, 2012, around that time.
So it would have been a 14 election?
Yeah, it was, this is before Trump even had anything to do with anything. Because I was in Newark, New Jersey around 2012.
Right, so before him.
Yeah, before Trump. So I started doing activism. I got picked up by David Duke. Other people started hearing my name. People said, hey, why don't you join my podcast? So the first thing I did was something called The White Voice. This was in 2014. It was just a podcast with the two guys talking about white people's problems.
And it was your show?
No, it wasn't mine, no. But then this guy reached out from the American Freedom Party. Hey, would you run for Congress for New Jersey? So I got all the signatures. Unfortunately, he emailed me paperwork for primary and then general, and I got them both signed, and I only half an. So I was disqualified, so it never happened, which is probably a good thing.
You don't have your paperwork.
Yeah,
right.
sorry, guy. So then, okay, that didn't work. But then my friend Nathan D'Amigo, I don't know if he is, if you know who he is, he reached out and said, hey, would you want to join the National Youth Front? You could be the chairman. So then this is when I started doing activism on the ground, passing out flyers, doing the banner drops. We went to colleges. Our message was, your college is anti-white. So we go to a college like Rutgers University in New Jersey, or there was one college in Boston, which I got banned from the grounds, literally. This woman named Seda Grundy said, well, whites, they're all bad. Some are less bad than others, things like that. I'm like, that's a professor saying that. So we go to the college, we plastered it anti-white with her face on it. And then I got removed from, like, they didn't catch me because it was 3 a.m. We did like a mission, all these giant papers. And I got a letter from the Boston police. You're not allowed to go on these grounds. Did that at ASU. We did it multiple. So I got known for doing this kind of activism. And then my wife got pregnant in 2015. And at that time I stepped down from the chairmanship, and Nathan took it to make it Identity Europa. And so I stepped down from that. And then after that, I didn't do anything on my own for a while. I did the Twitter thing. I blew up on Twitter when Trump got in. I kind of joined the MAGA movement. You know what I mean?
So did I.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know what? This guy's uniting us all against these bad globalists. No more dancing the song of globalism, no more wars, close the border. I'm like, okay, maybe this guy, he's a self-made billionaire.
Well, I mean, he was
right?
speaking, he was saying the things that filterless Americans had been thinking, or filtered
We're going to build a wall street.
Yeah.
We're going to build a wonderful wall, big, wonderful wall.
Mexico's going to pay for it.
Mexico's going to pay for it. And then literally the opposite.
Because he was saying he was so direct and hyperbolic that he was hilarious.
And he was different, know? And he was like, grab him by
breath
the pussy.
of fresh air.
Right. And again, the
not
argument,
an insider.
He's a self-made billionaire.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need Jewish money or anything like that. And remember that one of you said, I don't want to take your money because then you can't control me. He said all the right things. Like
even to somebody who kind of, was totally plugged into Jewish supremacy, Trump looked clean.
Yep. Yeah. He did.
See, I never got the opportunity to view him from that lens. So
clean
it's
enough.
Interesting.
At least clean enough.
Yeah.
At least against the globalist Jews, right?
Because I have friends, Sean Hibbler, he'll tell you, like, I knew about Trump the whole time.
Yeah. The people did. And I didn't see it.
Well, I didn't see any of this stuff until 2 years ago, whenever I sat down with the survivors of the USS Liberty. And that's what really, just as part of the Stu Peters network, like I'm in DC, I'm here, I'm going to this event, and I just started listening to these guys and I was like, oh my God. And that was it for me. So everybody's got a different thing. But yeah, Trump looked clean. Look at him now.
Yeah. Oh God, it's pathetic.
Could there be a more anti-American, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel, just like Jew worshiping administration? Could you think of anybody, like everybody in his cabinet? So how do people like Douglas Murray go on the Joe Rogan Experience and like try to make this argument? And then if you notice the way Rogan sets this up, it's all bad actors.
Yeah.
He did this completely disingenuously because, you have a Jewish comedian that's like supposed to be the guy arguing against Jewish supremacy. So now you have Jews literally controlling the entire dichotomy of the narrative. Like where the discourse is going.
You have a Jewish comedian who's like based. He's so based. And then you have a guy who sucks Jewish penis because that guy's husband is a Jew named Cohen. So Douglas, have you ever been there? Yeah, that guy's sucking a Jewish penis, and he's representing us. So we have a
talking down to Americans.
Yeah. So we have a Jewish comedian representing the good guys, and then we have the Jewish comedians who are the dissident, right? Like people who are supposedly like us. Like he's
the anti-Zionist.
And then we have a gay man who sucks Jewish dick literally. Okay. Explaining what's allowed or not. And here's the thing: people didn't catch this. Well, some people did. Dave he didn't disagree with Douglas. He's like, well, look, I agree. That's a little crazy. Yeah, you're right. I don't like that people leave those. No, those people are wrong. So that's what he's doing. He's gatekeeping. He's giving the impression that he's resisting Douglas's talking points. What do you mean? If I just say it's it's anti-Semitic? No, but you're right. It is dangerous. That's what. So these two people are setting up what's allowed in the kosher sandwich.
But the conversation is happening. Like, there's no way a Jewish comedian who represents himself as a dissident Jew, anti-Zionist, anti-war, like, I mean, a year ago, is that Jew sitting down with this homosexual, dick-sucking, like, married Jew that's like super pro, like, so they're literally admitting that they have to do damage control at this point.
That's exactly it, Stu. That's why everyone should be white-pilled. I know everyone's black-pilled, oh my God, acceleration, da-da-da, but look, I've been doing this for 13 years.
We needed this.
Yeah, I've been 13 years of my life doing this. In the last 2 years,
You would have been dealing with it until you took your last breath,
Yeah.
and now you may actually see
I
remedy
hope
to it
I see
because of this. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I'm 13 years total.
the goal
Last
is
2 years,
110.
the last 2 years, I've seen more people awaken than the last 11 years combined, Stu. So all the active 11 years, nothing compared to that October 7th thing exploded. That was like the biggest thing. I mean,
It was a big deal. Yeah.
Look, we did when Ye and Nick got together, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Then we did Band ADL, that blew up a lot. And then October 7th was like the icing. I mean, this is the first live streamed genocide of babies. Okay. Look, if Hamas was getting their asses kicked, okay, that's soldiers fighting. Okay. No. Children are being blown to pieces every day. And we have these Shabbos goys and Jews saying, well, Israel has a right to defend themselves. Okay. You have some, they're not defending themselves, blowing up schools and hospitals and killing children. So,
but a member of Hamas was, infiltrated, hiding amongst them.
All right, that's right. You just blow up not 800 people for one guy. And then they ask, did you get him? Well, we don't know if we got him. Yeah, you probably didn't get him. You see? So it's like, it's just all this crap. And look, so as I did my activism, I started understanding the Jewish dialectic, their arguments from all sides. But then I didn't think it was all Jews. You see what I mean? So this whole all Jew thing happened later in my life. But I did the activism. And then when did I start changing to get to the name change? Because this is a big, important thing in my life. So I dealt with Jewish supremacy back then, harassment, everything like that. And Tifa used to send me glitter bombs. Right? They used to send me glitter bombs where like you open a thing and the glitter opens in your. I obviously saw all this, so I never opened them. But I dealt with I got doxxed a long time ago. But it came to a point where I saw this movement. It was like stagnant. And I said to myself, I'm really putting myself out there. I'm neglecting my wife and kids in the sense that I'm not focused enough on them. I'm just focused on this Jew thing. And it was killing me.
So it was like an obsession.
It was like, I want to do the right thing, but no one else is there yet.
Are they listening to you?
They are, but there's not enough people. So
did your family call you crazy?
Well, they understand, but they're like, no, get away from, stop doing it. Their family doesn't want to.
No, but back then, originally, did they know these things?
I don't think they knew it as they do now. So
you Jew-pilled your fam.
Oh yeah, all my Marine friends as much as I could. But at that time, I felt it was literally killing my soul. So I said, you know what?
That's the goal.
I'm done with this. I said, I'm done with it. You know what? I'm going to just change my name and start my life over. I always wanted to be a life coach. I always wanted to write, and I wrote a book and everything. And I'm like, let me just go do that again.
So you changed your name to Lucas.
Yeah. Yep.
Where'd that come from?
Well, here's the thing. So my father's name Thomas, my mother's name Lucia. So you split Thomas and Lucia in half is Lou, and then S Lucas, right? Also means light. It also means I never liked my name Angelo because I always grew up in waspy towns. All these like white people. I'm like Italian, so like Brett, Brett Michael, and
Adam,
Bart or something, and I'm just like Angelo. It's like, oh god. So I was like, okay, I never liked it. Anyway, so I had an opportunity to start over. I said, look, I'm going to change my name, and not because I'm not getting facial surgery. It's obviously me. So I'm just going to get away from this because I don't want this haunting my kids. But what happened was I changed my name, and I got away from this. And this is COVID just happened. And so I'm like, this is 2022. I legally changed my name. What happens though? Fucking war in Ukraine. And I keep hearing nuclear war, World War III. And who's behind this war? Newland, Zelensky, all these Jews. I'm like, I can't escape them. I have to say something. So my friend Partisan girl, Maram, she's from Syria.
Yeah, yep.
Cool girl. She's been friends with her for 10, 12 years almost. I make a video. Because look, I always go viral because of my videos. The white genocide video, I went viral destroying my Keurig. It went viral with Sean Hannity, but then he took it down because he found it was me. That's what was in the Trump movement, right? Other story. So I always go viral with these videos. I make a video about Ukraine, Russia. I say, guys, you're being used as cannon fodder against. Who picks it up? Clayton Morris from Redacted. He goes, Lucas, you want to come on? Now, Lucas is not Angelo John Gage anymore. He's not Mr. Anti-Semite. I started saying Zionists and globalists. I said, no, it can't be all Jews. Because I actually spoke to Jews. Like, look, we're not all the same, man, all right? That was the problem. I even spoke to the guy who was stalking, that guy, David Lang from Israeli Cool. I got on the phone with him on Zoom. I said, Dave, I understand why you're scared of me. I don't hate all Jews. I just want the bad ones. Like, well, what's on our job to mix? Like, look, I just want the bad Jews. That's all. He's like, all right, well, we'll disagree on Israel. Phone call ended. I thought we were okay. We want to agree on Israel. Okay. Then I went on the Jew function. I told these two Jews, listen, I just want the bad Jews. We'll get the bad guys out of the way, right?
Yeah.
At the time, I want peace. I don't want war anymore. And he's like, look at these Jews behind this and that. He's like, I know, but anyway, so these Jews, they never admit they're wrong, just so you know. But at the time I said, okay, let me just focus on this World War III shit. It's more important than Jews. But you can't escape the fact it's them doing it. no matter what.
Yeah.
So I came back truly with an olive branch to the Jews. Like, listen, I understand why you're scared of me. I don't want to hurt anyone. That was my message. And for those 2 years, okay, before October 7th, I reached out to the Jewish community, olive branch. Just give us your bad ones. Give us your pedophiles, your spies, your Epsteins. Just give them back. Just help me take them down. Help me instead of covering them up. Instead of attacking me as an anti-Semite or anti-Israel. Stop. I don't want to deal with the small Jews. I know there are big Jews in the banks. I know it's not all of you. They wouldn't do it. So after I realized they wouldn't
Tribal.
do it, but only that, after October 7th, when I started calling them demons. See, I never called them demons before. After October 7th, when I saw them laughing at dead babies in telegrams of 300,000 Jews, all right? One was 300, well, another one was 127.
You take a picture of a guy in a jetway getting onto a Delta plane to come here, it blows up on the internet, and you're like, everybody should be so fearful, and you should be like arrested.
I should be
and
banned
these
off the
people
flag.
are the people that laugh at dead babies.
Yeah. So, when I saw that they were literally demonic, laughing at dead babies, we should glass Gaza, everywhere. All these normal Jews, like, whoever on the internet, all of a sudden go crazy.
Well, and these pastors.
And the Zionists, Christian Zionists, it's ridiculous.
Turn it to glass, like blow it up.
But would Jesus want that? When did Jesus say
do you realize that 50% of the population is under the age of 15? 75% is under the age of 25. It's densely populated. It's a small little area. And you're talking as a pastor about turning this to glass?
Dude,
do you know what that means?
Gas the tunnels. There's no innocence in Gaza. This is coming from people who are holy. When did Jesus Christ say nuke Gaza? I don't remember him saying nuke your enemies. I thought it was to forgive your enemies. But anyway, so after seeing all of them act the same way, the same talking points, whether they were Zionist, anti-Zionist, didn't matter. When I noticed that when I spoke about them as Jews, they went nuts. And I remember Goebbels said this. He's like, you can call him a scoundrel, you can call him whatever you want. When you call them Jew, they go, I've been found out. I never forgot that quote, and I'm just paraphrasing. Goebbels said it. It runs off them like a raincoat. Anything you want to call them, scoundrel, Paris, it doesn't matter. You call them a Jew, it's the worst thing. So I started calling them Jews. No more Zionists, no more communists, no more everything I was trying to do, being nice with them. I said, you're all Jews and you're demons. And that just went too much for them.
Is that when you got...
So the 3 months is because I was talking about, so this is what happened. This is what triggered me. I made this video. I was in my car. I just got back from the gym. There was this Jew who stepped into a space, okay? And he was like, it's settled. We don't give a damn what you did. It's the chutzpah of this Jew, the Zionists, we're better. I said, you got to slate in the context of the fucking space, Stu. If I say, look, tomorrow I'm going to see you at the court. I'm going to beat your fucking ass at basketball, right? And does that mean I'm literally going to punch you in the fucking buttocks? No, I'm going to kick your ass, or I'm going to shit down your throat. I'm literally going to defecate down your throat. So when I say in a space, when you run into one of these Zionists, you don't treat them with respect. You show them contempt. You treat them like you slay a demon. You slay them where they stand. You don't invite them into your house. I want you to treat every Zionist like a pedophile, pretty much. And then this is what Awesome Jew and all these other Jews did. 15-minute rant, they cut that out. 1 minute, 20 seconds. And they showed Elon, look, he wants to slay Jews. He means demons means Jews. He wants to kill Jews. The literal next sentence for a minute is, what did I mean by slay? All you got to do is call them out, show people what they are, and is to shame them, call them out, and show people what they are. That's all you do. Literally, that's what I said. I didn't say grab your AK-47, go to a center. I didn't say anything violent, and it's metaphoric. I got 3 months with that. And everyone saw it was manipulated. But Elon's a billionaire. He's just not going to watch a 15-minute clip. He's going to say, oh, well, and all the Jews are pressuring him. So I got suspended. This is why I made this shirt, by the way, ex rules violator. So I got suspended for 3 months. Come back. I noticed everyone started calling them demons. Candace started calling them demons. Because everyone knew it was me starting demons. Now everyone's calling them demons. So, oh, this is cool. Everyone's picking up my talking point. Because how could you not call them demons? They're laughing at children getting blown. They're not going, oh my God, this is terrible. I wish we didn't have to do this. They go, too bad. Don't put your kids in, don't put your Hamas in a hospital.
I don't care how many dead kids it takes.
Bitch tits patriot. That's who that is. Bitch tits, that's what I call him. Ooh, very strange sexual life. But anyway, so
that's weird.
It's all these homosexual Jews, and he's a Jew, his mother's a Jew. All these homosexual Jews are telling us they don't care if dead, I mean, it's incredible. And people are like, okay with this? No. So I started calling them demons and started pushing the rhetoric even more. And so I come back after my 3 months. I lost my blue check, never got it back, demonetized and everything. And then I get suspended again the next year for 6 months for posting a fucking clip Well, actually, no, the swattings began in July 4th. So remember, Stu, I've been doxxed since 2015. Never did they attack my family like this, ever. I don't know what I did. I went to this JP conference. I did a speech, my first speech in public. I was very energetic. That freaked them out. I don't know what. When I got home on July 4th, swattings began. Now, all these Jews, awesome Jews, Sharian.org, Stop Anti-Semites, the same there. He's a violent anti-Semite. He wants to kill Jews. And Elon, he posted that 6-month suspension. Here's what he said. And the first he said it was illegal that I tried to kill Jews, that I wanted to murder Jews. No, I didn't. That's like literally, this guy is the richest man in the world. He's literally slandering me. Or is it libel? When you write it down, it's libel.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever it is, it's defamation.
Defamation.
He's telling, this guy has 300 million, or whatever it is, saying that I incited to kill Jews. This is the richest man in the world. I'm like, I call the lawyer up, like, can I sue this guy? He's like, look, man, you're a public figure.
Yeah.
And if you want to sue Elon, you need firms. Not one, you need multiple firms to sue him, and you're not going to win because you're a public figure. I'm like, all right, well, he just defamed me in front of the So if the richest man on earth with the biggest microphone on X is saying, I want to kill Jews.
He can say whatever he wants.
But
That's
other
like
Jews are going to think, they're going to think I want to kill them.
Yeah.
And I've never stated in any sentence out there, all the activism I've done for 13 years, have I said I ever wanted to harm a Jew.
Do you want to harm a Jew?
No, I do not.
Oh.
I want to separate from them.
So now he's been asked.
So,
do you want to kill Jews?
No. The only people who deserve to be executed are people who've done terrorism, who molested children, who raped people, who kill.
Yeah, they need to be put on trial, and then they need to be executed when they're found guilty.
Everyone who's done something to our people,
yes, you touch
Jew
our
or non-Jew,
kids, we kill you. I think that's
So I'm all about the death penalty.
It's a hill
for
we
these
should all
crimes.
die on, right?
Exactly. So for me, I don't want to. So my anti-Semitism is literally get the fuck away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot hurt you if you're away from me. It's literally the best solution. So that's my position on that, and they hate that because
separatism is your idea.
Yes.
That idea has been tried.
Yes.
1,030 times in 109 countries.
Yeah. It's been tried a lot.
We still have the problem.
Yeah, it's got to be permanent though. You can never let them back in. That's the thing. But
you have to keep them under supervision as well.
Well, that was the plan with Madagascar or even Palestine. The whole Balfour Declaration wasn't like give them a state for themselves. It was to watch them. Hitler was like, everyone's like, oh, Hitler is a controlled Zionist shill because Hitler's like, no, we know what they want.
He was into some pretty demonic shit though.
They say pagan, who knows, but
yeah, pagan.
He was a Catholic. Then he was, he wrote about.
I don't know. I've heard a lot. There's
a thing.
Here's what we can do. We can listen to what he says.
That's all that matters.
That's what matters to me.
I think he was most of these leaders.
People say he was into sorcery and demonic, trickery and magic and witchcraft and all this other stuff. I know what he wrote about Christianity.
Yeah, he was Catholic. He thought Christianity fell apart. It was bad.
Well, and look at it now. Christianity has been completely subverted.
When he painted Jesus Christ and Mary in his painting, which is on my website if you want it, he made him white and blue eyes and blonde hair. So he didn't want Jesus to be Jewish. That was one thing. And he said Islam didn't have that Jewish problem because Islam had no Jewish prophet in that regard. But anyway, Hitler, yes, he was more of a pantheist. He did say, I'm doing the Lord's work in his older speeches. He's a politician. All the Germans were Protestants and Catholics. Yeah, like, this is fake. He's not going to do that. Every politician does this. But he was raised Catholic, and he did say the Lord and all that stuff. But ultimately, you could see that Hitlerism was replacing it. In the schools, you'd have his picture instead of a cross. They had Gott mit uns, which God is with us. They had preachers and everything. The Vatican was pro-fascist at the time. But he probably did want to replace that with blood religion, Hitlerism. Regardless, though, he thought the Jewish problem was able to sink in with Christianity. And it has with the Christian Zionists. With the Schofield Bible, which is a psyop, obviously, you know that. They're able to turn all these Christians who mean well into
one of the scariest things ever that they have been able to infiltrate that because there's 24.2 billion, I think is the latest statistic. That's how many people identify as Christian.
2.4 billion.
2.4 billion.
24, that's too many.
Oh, did I say 24?
24, yeah, it's a lot of
2.4 billion.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of foot soldiers.
That's right.
All right. So we're on TV. We're on Dish Network, DirecTV. We're also on the Stu Peters Network, Rumble, anywhere you can find a podcast. We got to go to break for those DirecTV people. But before we do, throw in your own commercial because you're doing your thing, and I want you to shill what you have and what you're doing with sovereignty.
So this is sovereignty. I'm wearing an X rules violator shirt because obviously all of us has broken the rules.
I've got the band all for
I got the hat
especially
here.
Israel.
I got a bookstore, lucasgage.com. So
where's my coffee cup? I've got mine coffee.
Yeah, I got some coffee. So on my t-shirt company, I do t-shirts that promote sovereignty. That's why it's sovereignty, T-E-E. It's play on the word sovereignty, masculinity, and nationalism. And I also have a bookstore, lucasgage.com. I have a Substack called Our Struggle. This is my most important serious work where I'm not trolling. Lucas Gage X, on my X account, is where I do the trolling and the memes and funny stuff. And then I have my Rumble stream, just find Lucas Gage, where I talk to my chat directly and I just build a community there. So that's what I do. I really want to inspire people in this cause rather than be the Mr. Information guy, because we have people like you, Nick, and everyone else, excellent people when you do the news. I'm more of like a life coach, actually. I'm like life coaching the movement, because it's difficult to swallow these pills, bro. The red pill sucks.
Yeah, you do love handing out advice. I know that.
I do. I do. Yeah,
it's free.
Yeah.
You know what else is free? StuPeters.com. But if you want to support the network, it's $9 a month or $90 for the entire year. I think it's totally worth it. We do a lot of content, behind the scenes stuff, giveaways all the time. I'm going to pin you down. We're going to do some giveaways for Stu Crew. We'll talk about sovereignty merchandise that we'll give away, but there are also people that pay to talk about themselves on this program. So we're going to give them the 60 seconds I think they need of network time to do that. And we'll be back with more with Lucas Gage right after this. Stick around. Speaking of supporting your kids, please support your child's natural immunity as we begin the school year. Z-Spike Gummies. This week we have a special sale. Promo code SPN20 for 20% off site-wide, and that includes subscriptions at Z-Stack. So if you want the subscription, 20% off, including that, hurry over and get your order in right now. The promo code expires on the 16th of September. ZStackLife.com/SPN. ZStackLife.com/SPN. We'll be right back. Everybody knows about Pizzagate. Everybody knows that it's true. Everybody knows about the satanic Hollywood elite pedophiles taking this adrenochrome stuff to try to de-age. It's disgusting. Nobody's ever going to do that. Everybody does want to de-age, though. Now you can. Go to uncancelablehealth.com. It's not a hoax. Uncancelablehealth.com. You've probably seen testimonials on my Rumble channel. This is actual de-aging, reversing the aging process at the stem cell level. Uncancelablehealth.com. Uncancelable, the show continues right now. I mean, that's something that I've been doing a lot lately, working out.
Yep.
You're getting back in the gym. I mean, it changed my life completely. I got a DUI on a four-wheeler. It turned into a big deal, of course. You know, the Rolling Stone wanted to get involved, you know, right-wing shock jock, you know, conspiracy kingpin arrested for DUI. These people are fucking evil. They will do anything in the world to embellish, to, you know, I mean, they will destroy your entire character, or they'll try to. They'll remove you from every social group. I mean, look at Nick Fuentes. This guy couldn't even take an Uber or a Lyft, whatever it was. You know, denied from rideshare services. He was on like fly lists. I mean, this guy was canceled in every way possible. He's been out there talking about this for a long time. Yeah. And leading young men in a good direction. I think Nick does a fantastic job in his lane. What he does is valuable for our movement. And that, you know, brings me back to, I think everybody should be doing that. You know, I have no problems elevating other people and talking about them, giving them kudos and tipping my hat. I think he does a great job. Jake Shields, he's another one. You know, and you've been doing your thing. But everybody has kind of their own style and their own delivery. It's not like, I'm never going to try to do what Nick Fuentes does.
No.
I'm never going to try to do what Lucas Gage does, or what Myron Gaines does, or Ian Carroll does, or Dan Bilzerian does. Like, everybody's got their own thing, and cohesively, we reach a lot of people together as one well-oiled machine, if we could ever get it together and operate like that. We have to be tribalistic like the enemy is. I mean, these people, you got to give them credit also and tip your hat. They have been very successful, and they always stick together. The tunnel Jews in New York, these rats with, you know, blood-stained mattresses. Where did that story go, by the way? Yeah. Where did the Epstein file story go? Why isn't everybody like literally physically at Pam Bondi's office demanding to see the Epstein files and the flight logs and the tapes? She has tapes. She said that what she had on her desk ready to go to the public disgusted her, and then what we got was a more redacted form of what we've already seen unredacted. So why don't they want to show us this? Who's on these tapes? Who's being compromised? Her and all of her buddies, all the way up to the president, because we know that he had Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, there's plenty of pictures of them together, right? So it's like, this whole thing revolves around the battle for the soul. This is definitely spiritual warfare. And really, it targets the murder of childhood innocence and childhood life, organ harvesting, sex trafficking, the sexualization of children. We spend a whole fucking month in this country celebrating sodomy, which, you know, I believe God blew up 2 whole cities over sodomy, you know, and sexualizing pedophiles, literally shaking their dicks in little kids' faces and then being protected by the police who are supposed to be arresting those type of people for lewd and lascivious behavior at minimum, you know, more like criminal sexual conduct involving minor child. You know, I mean, it's molestation in public protected by the police. It's in our schools, our bookshelves that we pay for. It looks like, you know, a pornography library. I mean, you can get instructions on dick sucking as a 6th grader. I had a kid on the show like years ago, 2 years ago, Max, I believe his name was, and he went before his school board and read out of this book that the librarian shoved in his face, and the school board had to censor the sixth grader and shut him up. Like, whoa, you can't be saying that. It's in my library.
Right. Wow.
And they didn't want to hear it. We are looking at Weimar conditions in our country. And this was set up for not just an economic, but, you know, in the 1930s in Berlin, I mean, it was set up for a total societal collapse. Perfect total societal collapse. And we're seeing it repeated here. And they told us they were going to do it. Why didn't we believe them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to one of Hitler's speeches, he says, what did they start with first? They poisoned the culture, the theater, our symbols, our heroes. That's what they've done, man. They've done all these things. That's why, you know, people think, oh, who cares if they race swap somebody? Yeah, it's to demoralize it. Oh, Snow White isn't a freaking Latina half Jew. Like, that's not what Snow White is. Or Ariel the Mermaid isn't some black girl.
Black girl, yeah.
Just make another movie about another black mermaid. But no, they have to take our stories away, written by our people, to demoralize us. And to even when it bombs, none of these make any, even interracial porn doesn't make
They're
money.
doing it for a loss, just like they did with J-Proof.
Right.
You know,
the guy's buying some Jew bot or something, is losing.
I think it was a real person.
Yeah.
Because, you know, our army actively waged war against him in real time. I was watching it on the chart. It was amazing. And I participated in it as well. And it was happening in real time.
But this is the point when it comes, people are like, oh, that's just all profits. Like all these Tim Pools. It's all about corporate profits. No, they don't make money on interracial porn. That's the least amount of black and white women. That's not moneymaker. Gay porn is not moneymaker, right? These movies are race swapping, they all bomb.
Doing it to denigrate,
exactly.
and to subjugate.
That's what they want to do, right? So they want to destroy
the rise
something.
of degeneracy.
Yes. So they destroy our economy with finance, and then they destroy our moral character, so we don't fight against our own slavery because there's so much decadence and destruction.
Why is it anti-Semitic to say that when, I mean, it's the truth? So where did anti-Semitic come from? Well,
the word was coined by this guy named William Barr, I think, or William Marr in like 18 something to describe himself. Someone who didn't like Jews. He came up with it. Well, what am I? I'm against these people. He came up with it. Really not the best term because Semites are people who speak a certain language in that region. So you could be talking about Jordanian. A lot of the people, I'm a Jordanian Semite. What are you talking about?
Well, and having ancient Hebrew DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these people, like you see, a lot of these Ashkenazi Jews are mixed with Europeans. So they're coming from Poland.
The people that they're killing are actually Semites.
Yes, these are more Semitic.
So it's like inverse. They're just like totally flip-flopping it in line.
Right. I mean, they're still Jews, but they're mixed, and they're an Ashkenazi version.
That's why I don't get into the semantics.
Yeah.
This is exactly why. Like, I was kind of like nodding my head. I know what you're talking about earlier when you were saying, like, this is why I just started calling them Jews.
Exactly.
The same reason I do, because that's what they call themselves. I'm not going to get into these factions. You know, the Zionists. The Zionists haven't been kicked out of 109 countries, 1,030 times. The Zionists didn't start the central banks, you know, in Argentina.
Well, who wrote the Talmud? It wasn't a Zionist.
No.
There was no Zionism.
And I don't get into the Marxists and the Frankists and the, you know, Ashkenazi versus the, you know, Orthodox and Semitic and look,
They're just Jews.
Yes. Hasidic, Orthodox. No, they're just Jews. And I hope that helps to bring, I mean, I'm not going to confuse my audience.
No, you can't.
Wait, who is Stu talking about? Like, we talk about this every day because everywhere you look, it points back to the same people.
Well, all those groups you just mentioned are Jews anyway. It's like you're just different colors of crayons. They're all Jews, so just call them Jews. And like you said, they identify as Jews when they want to, and then they hide as whites when they don't. Like, oh, I'm a white person, and they come out and say, "Oh, actually, I'm Jewish."
So you had recently, you were swatted a bunch of times. You were sent a bunch of things. Your family was going through this. Your wife, your kids. I mean, like. They tried to murder you.
Yeah.
Let's not sugarcoat it. How has that affected you personally now? Like,
Yeah,
are you
so
more invigorated?
oh
Like,
God. So the whole mission. So there's a picture I shared of the first SWAT when I got cuffed. Now he cuffed me not because I was under arrest. He's like, this is just procedure. Are you okay with this? I'm like, yeah, sure. I want him to feel safe because they called me. They didn't know who I was. I'm a former veteran. You know, they used the VA hotline suicide thing.
mm,
I just killed my wife.
weaponized your own service.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the sick part. Okay.
Yeah.
They did it multiple times. So the first SWAT, the police had no idea who I was. They were literally, bro, in fucking bushes across the street, lights, everything. I go outside, my hands up. I said, Kate, record this, please. They called me, hi, Mr. Gage, Sergeant, whoever. Like, yeah, what's up? He's like, yeah, I need you to step outside. I'm like, what's up? He's like, yeah, you need to come out, please, your hands up. I'm like, okay, my wife's going to record this for my safety. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Just come out with your hands up. Follow orders. I said, I'm going to cooperate. I have no weapons. I'm going to cooperate. He's like, thanks for telling me this. Now we feel safe because they got a call. This guy just killed his family. That's what they got. Okay. They don't know me, right? I'm a former Marine. I got PTSD, right? I'm disabled and all that. So I come outside, my hands up, lights everywhere. I'm like, holy fuck. And my wife's recording. They arrested me. Well, not arrested. They put my hand in cuffs. Now, of course, awesome Jew. He's got arrested. No, that didn't happen. They just procedure, just in case, right? Thank God they didn't work. They weren't trigger happy cops. Or if someone said gun, that's it. One mistake, one rookie mistake. If I did one movement, you know, that's why swatting is attempted murder, because shit can go fucking wrong. This isn't a joke.
Well, that's what they're banking on.
That's what they
Somebody's
want.
Going to panic. Somebody's going to slip up. There's going to be.
So I went out there like this. I saw oh my God, the whole lights. My neighbors didn't know what was going on.
Shoot your dog.
Oh God, if he ran out Maximus. So that first night they cuffed me. And then after the cuffs came off, I have the picture on my Instagram, on my Twitter of me going, I'm looking at my wife like this. In that moment, I said, am I done or am I going all in? I said, fuck these motherfuckers. I'm all in. And it's in my eyes, like, fuck these bad. That's it. That's when I said it's all of them. That was it, bro. Forget Zionist, anti-Zionist. These motherfuckers did this to me. I don't know why. I still don't understand. Why July 4th are you swatting a fucking war veteran on Independence Day? His family's there. My son's on the couch. My sister-in-law is upstairs with her baby. Okay? So they came in to check the house and everything. That's night one. I'm like, oh, fuck, is this going to happen again? The next night it happened. They swatted me 9 times in 4 days. I don't know if that's a world record or whatever, but the second time, same thing, guns and everything. Then they realized, I said, he's like, we're sorry, Mr. Gage. That's what they said. Then we're sorry. I said, look, I understand. There's got to be something. I'm being swatted. I got swatted, but I did a space on swatting. I was in a space, like, guys, I was getting swatted. I still had access to my Twitter at the time. I wasn't suspended yet. So I was putting all the videos up every time the cops came, every time. So everyone's seeing my story, millions of views. Like, what's happened to this guy? If even people don't like me, like, I don't like Gage, he's an anti-Semite, but this is fucked up. Like, normal goy, right? All the goyim were like, wow, this is fucking bad, man. This is making the Jews look terrible. So
how's your family reacting at this time, though?
They're fucking scared. Here's what made me sick. So you can fuck with me all you want.
Is your wife pissed at you? Like, would you please stop this?
Like, she was scared. Listen,
she
was like, oh my God, what
people?
She was scared. And I said, look, if you got to go, you got to fucking. I told her I can't stop. But this is they didn't just stop my family, me and my wife. They sent pizzas to all my family. My aunts who were like in another they're in another city, don't talk, they live by themselves, innocent Catholic women, they're not even married, super religious. They're freaking out. My aunts, my sister's ex-boyfriend, I don't even know where they found him. Everyone got pizzas. Everyone's getting harassed. My mom got a phone call, we're going to kill your kid. I got texts from Israel, literally, right, saying that they're going to kill me. Everything. You're going to drag your kids in front of you. I'm like, who are these people? So they did this literally from July 4th until fucking recent. The swatting stopped because the police, once they realized I'm swatting, there were more swats, but they were phone calls. Hey, Sergeant, whoever, we got to come by. We heard you killed your dad. Yeah, I know. Come by, officer. Like that kind of thing. So the chance of me being killed by a SWAT was gone. So they realized that. But then they started doing other things. The pizzas, Chinese food, plumbing companies, electric companies, because they ran out of, you know what I mean? It's everything, right? The gas company. Now, the gas company, they have to come in your house or they shut off your gas. That's what they did. So when I was under a siege, I said, all right, look, this is fucked up. I'm going to send you away. I'm going to go to Vegas to meet Dan and Jake and go hang out with them. We're going to get out of this fucking house. That's what we did. So I got out of the house first. Then she went out of the house. And while that was happening, even while we're out of the house, they were sending people and, things like this. So they didn't stop, nonstop attacks. That's when they sent me the Israeli flag and the Talmud. Okay. Now that day, The reason why I burnt that fucking book. See, people think I bought the flag. That would have been cringe, right? These motherfuckers sent me everything. They sent me like KY jelly and a banana. I mean, it's like some funny shit, dumb stuff like that. They sent me like Hebrew books. So they sent me the Talmud and they sent me a flag. That day, Domino's is a corporation, okay?
Yeah.
No one gives a fuck. They started sending mom and pops. And these people got to take a hit. These delivery people. And they sent 4 in a row. Literally, car. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't order this. Oh my God, is it really? Yeah, it was like $50 a pizza, $100, like all these toppings, all these sandwiches, like all this shit, and hurting small business. Fuck Domino's all you want. Who gives a shit? These people, mom and pops, Mexican. I got so mad. I said, fuck this book. That's what fuck the flag and fuck the book. That's when I burned the fucking Talmud. I took a picture of it. Then I took the Israeli flag, cut that shit in half. And these things went viral. That flag cutting went viral in the Arab world. It was on Al Jazeera. It was all over the fucking place. Turkey and everything. I've done interviews in different countries about Aaron Bush.
Yeah, you didn't have to light yourself on fire.
Yeah, I didn't have to, no. Which, sad thing to do, by the way. But, so that's what drove me to it.
That's how far this thing will drive people.
Yes. I mean, that guy was in the Air Force. I don't know if he's supposed to get deployed. And he's like, fuck it, I'd rather die.
Yeah.
And, it's a heroic act. It takes a lot of balls to bring. It would have been better if he didn't do that. But he desecrated the Israeli embassy forever. Now everyone knows that guy burned himself alive. Unfortunately, in today's society, Stu, people forget things in 2 weeks. No matter what happens.
2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, but it's like.
Yeah, I think that's giving too much credit.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
People forget about things in days. The news cycle is 20 seconds, and by design, it's just constant. And the market's doing this, and Trump's in the tariffs, and then World War III, and Iran is bad. And I mean, it just keeps on. The programming is so, it's like unfathomable to think about how deep it goes. And it only enhanced after COVID because people stayed home.
That's right.
So they relied more on their screens. They relied more on, the kids were learning from Chromebooks who, were ingesting and digesting and processing whatever information the Department of Education decided that they wanted to filter through and poison their brains with while they were locked at home.
Yeah.
And then if they ever went outside, they had to wear masks and they didn't have the interaction of facial expressions, and they didn't see a smile, like a real genuine smile. I remember seeing videos of parents outdoors hugging their kids through like plastic wrap on playgrounds. And, their kids were all, it was the most demonic thing. And now, the information superhighway and kids, you just see them just like scroll. It's really scary.
Yeah.
And AI, Elon Musk said, AI is going to kill everybody. It's going to kill all of humanity. And here he is over here building it.
Keep building it, bro.
Yeah, what are you doing over there?
Just destroy the planet. No big deal. Put a chip in your brain, and we'll download the Holocaust remembrance in your head. No big deal. You don't have to even worry about it and all that stuff. No, but the COVID.
If you disagree with me, I'll just shut your switch off.
Yeah, the COVID pandemic actually also woke a lot of people up because that really hurt them. Like 40% of small business wiped out, never seen again. People lost their family, and then they just said, "Oh, pandemic's over." One day they just said, "We're good now. No more 6 feet. No more masks." It's like, wow, that's weird. Just decide when a virus goes away.
So here's my thing is like, okay, I tend to agree with almost everything that you say.
Yeah.
I share that position. And then I say different things, and then you say different things. But the things that you say, I agree with virtually all of them. Same thing with some of the people that I have mentioned here that are kind of in our space. So the Overton window is obviously smashed.
Pretty much shattered at this point.
Yeah, and these conversations are being had. So you're white-pilled in that regard, and so am I. I think it's great. People need to know truth. Yes. You can't operate from ground zero unless you're grounded in truth. Yeah. So now what, though? So the conversation's happening. I'm a remedy guy. I like to move the ball. And so I'm actually making real steps in real life to do things. I think that there's a lot of people in our movement that have the criticism of like people like us, like, okay, well, now what? And so that's why I think that, I have an army of, people will literally go to war right alongside of me. Because I'm remedy focused.
Yes.
So are you. So what is your lane of remedy? Like, what are you focused on doing to move the ball, and solutions based?
Well, the thing that I started doing was cleansing myself from all fear. So if I'm going to start telling people stop being afraid, I have to stop being afraid. And after getting swatted for so many times and dealing with all these harassments and deaths and in my marriage, I said to my wife, if you have to leave, she didn't leave, but it was a conversation.
You said she did.
I implied. I said, you took everything from me. We were going through something, no doubt about it, but she never left. And reason I said
they ran with it though.
Exactly.
Oh, his wife left.
That's my point. So our enemies are so desperate to get anything on us.
And they're fucking stupid.
That, right. If I put a 95 IQ score, they'd still think it's that. It's like, are you retarded? And I literally said, I'm going to here's a lower one, 92. One guy went that. I put 85, which is literally almost retarded. They went with that. It's like, they'll do anything. Like you said, I take a picture of the Jewish guy in front of me and put every single flight. It's literally another Holocaust.
Which it was hilarious.
It's a joke. No, but anything I do, anything I say, I literally remember the picture we took at the baseball game. I said, Stu, this is so cringe. I'm posting it. And you're like, all right, fine, do it. I literally I tell my people in chat, here, I'm going to do something stupid. Hey, Sam, watch this. I'm going to make fun of myself. Like I'm gay or something, or I'm a Jew, or you're 6 million% in Ashkenazi DNA, anything. And I throw it out there. And these people think I'm serious or whatever the case. And they go, because they have nothing on me. I have no criminal record. I've done nothing wrong. So any negative news. So the reason why I implied my wife left is so they leave us the fuck alone. So if they think she left, they'll leave me alone. Like, oh, she's no longer there. There's no reason to send pizzas anymore. And it fucking worked for a while, right? So the thing is, they went with it. Instead of going, this is terrible. Oh my God, fag loser. That's what you get from loving Hitler. Blah, blah. They love these things, right? So let them, to this day, others like, bro, he was joking. Some of them correct him, like, idiot, he tricked you or something. Others like, no, to this day, literally today, oh, your wife left you, loser. Like, okay, bro, yeah, keep.
All right, solutions-based conversation.
Yeah, so solutions. So for me, the first thing is I need to purge myself out of fear. And I did. So now I'm completely open about it. I literally say, okay, I am an anti-Semite. I'm not even, David Duke from I've never said that publicly. He's never said, yeah, it's always, no, I'm not. I love you. No, I am. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means anything now. According to the IHRA, if you think Jews have power, you're an anti-Semite. So it's pretty much meaningless. But I define it as this. I want nothing to do with you. That's my I don't want to hurt you. Get away from me. Thing is, they're going to insist on being with us no matter what. Like a mosquito is going to insist, let me suck your blood. I don't care if you never suck blood from a human.
Well, every parasite needs a host.
Exactly. So that's the reason. Look, if Jews wanted to solve anti-Semitism, this is what I realized. If they truly wanted to end anti-Semitism, they have all the money in the world. They could buy countries out, like, look, we're going to make an Israel here and here and here, and only Jews are allowed, and no one's going to be like, no, please don't do that. They're like, yeah, go to your 10 different Israels and live among yourself. But a parasite can't do that. Mosquitoes can't live away from mammals. They must live around mammals.
It's like a tick to a dog.
Exactly. So when they're crying anti-Semite, they're not saying you go away. They're saying, let us stay. That's what they're doing, Stu. So they don't want to separate. And again, for thousands of years, our ancestors have told us exactly how they're like. And they've been blaming people, scapegoating people forever and ever and ever. They do the same thing over and over again. Pedophilia, child sacrifice, poison, literally poisoning the wells. Everything that is blood libel is actually a fucking fact. Simon and Trent didn't kill himself, okay? That kid was killed in a ritual murder, and they drained his fucking blood, and now he's a saint. And this is not one kid, so we're supposed to believe Jews don't do that. And all these European kids committed suicide, and all these Europeans plotted to kick Jews. There were no civil rights back then. They would just kill you if our ancestors would just burn them alive when they got pissed at these people. They didn't fuck around.
Cleanse yourself of fear.
Cleanse yourself of fear, and then start promoting other people to do that, because we could learn all the information. We could watch Europa, we could watch Occupied, we could watch streams, we could watch this. But then what? You have to get away from the dangers in your life. So you got to clean your life of the Jewish presence around you guys. That's why I've been saying to people, you can't have Jewish managers. You can't have people that are controlling your operations that are Jewish. You can't even, maybe you can have a friend or two, but they got to get away from you, And from that, you got to say, okay, now what? Now we have to organize. But how are we going to organize? They run all the fucking banks.
Do you think that you could organize an effective campaign for the current government in its form? Like, is there a way for us to use our current governmental apparatus, the Trump administration, our current Congress? Are there means for us to politically?
There could be, but you have to be fearless. Like, look, the National Socialists under Hitler, I mean, he was the 7th member. He didn't establish the party. He just walked in there and, I kind of like these guys. And he didn't even know he could speak. If you read in Mein Kampf, he's like, I can speak. And he became the speaker. And then next thing you know, they loved him. I remember reading from him. He was out there passing flyers. No one would show up. Again, flyers don't. But as Germany got worse.
That movement, it was like bar to bar.
Yes, exactly. Right.
They didn't have like the internet.
No. They had nothing. They had small play. And then so suddenly they start packing the thing up, and then it wasn't big enough.
Think about how crazy that is. It was a bar to bar in person movement.
Yeah.
That led to hundreds of thousands of people.
And you know what, Stu?
Gathering at Hitler
Right.
rallies and speeches.
And you know what may happen with all this censorship? We might have to go back to that. And that actually might be healthier for us. In a way, I kind of hope they nuke everything in regards to Twitter, because then we won't sit there like, I'm winning. Like, yeah, we're destroying the narrative, but they still run the, 2 years, honestly, guys, 2 years of fighting against Israeli propaganda against Gaza. Not one bullet has stopped. Not one bomb has not been dropped on these kids.
We just sent them 70 million pounds
Exactly.
in bombs.
So all this, makes us feel good. We are telling the truth. I mean, you can go on Instagram, on my wife's fucking, and people are waking up. Regular moms are like, "Oh my god, these people are crazy."
In the comments,
yes,
yeah,
like
it's
soccer
all over
moms.
the place.
Like, I can't take this shit. But then what? We have to organize, and that takes money. And this is what the movement is. The problem is everyone's a Fed, everyone's grifting, everyone's a freaking scammer. No one trusts anyone, and then they wonder why there's no organizations. Look, the Jews have thousands upon thousands of organizations. Their guys are paid. They're not worried about rent. Okay. Shmuley's not like, oh, I'm going to go broke soon. Like, all these people have money and they're paying even our people to betray us.
Yeah.
So we need to have a financial system or some kind of thing where we could use it to fund ourselves, but we also need brave people to be out in public. And I'm not saying go dox yourself. I'm not saying do something illegal or stupid, but you have to be prepared, because look, Stu, they're not going to stop with just deporting visa students. They're not. They're going to want to get all of us, okay? And if they could blow our babies up like in Gaza, they fucking will. I'm sure they will if they can. So this is about understanding what's coming next. Now, I'm white-pilled that people are waking up, but I'm black-pilled that a lot more suffering has to come. You said Weimar conditions? Kind of. These girls are doing OnlyFans willingly. In Weimar, Germany, it was mother-daughter teams who had to do prostitution just to eat. We're not just there yet. Our degeneracy is there, but we're willingly doing it. And Weimar is yet to come. And when that comes, I'm talking about people are starving. There are no fucking jobs. There is no Burger King. You're sitting there, what the fuck? And people are just freaks and degenerates. And Jews are running rampant. So we're almost in the way that way. But when it gets there, then what? So we have to organize. We got to stop being afraid. If you don't take risks, how the fuck can you be free? If you're afraid, you're finished. All they got to do is like, oh, you're afraid to lose your job? You're fired. If you don't shut your mouth.
I'm black-pilled on the political system as we know it.
Yes.
The entire thing is fake.
Absolutely.
They're literally, they're responding to casting calls to be congressmen.
So your question was, could we somehow run a third party and overthrow?
No. In our current political apparatus, a third party is pointless to me.
Yeah, you think so?
Unless you really have, like, you would have to have a lot of money.
Yeah, you would. But even then, they'll just take you out.
Yeah, because in this structure, you would have to get media time. You'd have to get airtime. People would have to know of your existence. You'd have to be able to get traction. Well, the media is owned, by BlackRock and Vanguard and State
by the Chatcoms. Hey, it's the Chatcoms, Stu. You know that. Come on, covering up the Chatcoms.
That's been really interesting to watch, hasn't it?
Oh my God, Alex.
It's like a humiliation ritual at this point.
Elon, I think, paid off his debt, whatever that $1 billion fee it was. He's probably.
But no, I don't think that, like, the way that it's set up now with the way that our elections are rigged and these installations are made. And I mean, look, I don't have the 230 some odd $1 million that the Adelsons gave to Trump. I don't have that kind of, political capital. And then he can deploy it also from, all of the Shabbos goys and their, platforms that are out there shilling to sell hats for $40. I don't have that apparatus, and nobody does. And operating inside of that ecosystem is just kind of like, it's impossible.
Well,
right?
it's a kosher sandwich. You got left and right, and there you go.
This form of governance,
I think
as a whole, it's deemed ineffective.
Yes.
It's oppressive to your God-given inherent inalienable rights, your constitutional rights. I think that form of government has to be abolished and replaced. With something completely different. And I would actually be in favor of, a dictatorial monarchy of sorts.
Here's my thing. So I believe that this country, or whatever you want, I don't even think it's a country anymore. That's another psyop. Oh, we lost it long ago.
Our democracy.
Yeah. Well, it's a democratic republic, right? But here's the
Constitutional republic.
Yeah. So I argue, I write on this is my Substack. Remember, ourstruggle.pub is where I write my serious philosophical work. I'm not trolling. I'm not cursing. I'm a completely different person. It's like reading Goebbels. I'm not joking. I argue that being a minority shouldn't even be a thing. There should be no minorities, meaning that everyone should be living among their own people, religiously, racially, whatever combination you want, but they all must agree politically. So you have 4 categories, let's say: politics, religion, culture, and race, okay? If you have different politics, different races, you got a fucking problem. We have the worst system. We have different religions, different races, different politics, and different cultures, and it's all fighting each other. If we all agree, at least politically, start from there, then you could add race, religion, et cetera, et cetera. You're probably going to add religion anyway because religion is metaphysics and your ethics.
So a political nationalist movement.
So basically, we got to go back to what our founding fathers wanted, these sovereign states. And the state decides what happens within the state, and all the states make a deal to protect each other from foreign enemies. That's how it's supposed to be. But now we have this federal government that's become a huge parasite that extracts our income tax and then just does what it wants. You see, before it wasn't like that. Now it's a runaway system. It's bloated bureaucracy. They don't care about us. And then they put these puppets, these Shabazoi puppets, they promise us what we want, and then they do the opposite, and nothing happens to them. That you should be fired instantly. If you go for a job and say, yeah, I'm a computer programmer, and then you go in there and you don't know how to do it, you'd be fired.
Yeah.
Here, you just stay for 4 years.
If you ran a business like our government runs our country.
Exactly. Yeah. So I am against this entire system completely. It needs to be overthrown.
Well, and they're murderers and they're pedophiles. And I mean, just throughout, I think you have really just two parties now. You have Israel and Thomas Massey.
That's right. Well, Thomas is based. Yeah, good for him. And I don't know what his wife, God forbid, that was. Anyway, but
I would love to sit down and talk with him.
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome to see.
You know, and I think that's so. He can say what he says with Tucker Carlson about everyone having a babysitter, a little Jew man in the corner, basically, is what he said. Guy. And, a couple weeks later, they clip his wife.
Yeah.
That's so. I think sitting down with a guy like me, the upside for him is really limited.
If that's what happened to his wife, I see why he wouldn't.
Well, no, I mean, he could sit down probably again with Tucker. And I mean, I think that he could probably talk about the very exact same subject matter and content with anybody else virtually. But
with you, it's
with
worse.
Me, it would be the way that the media would frame it.
Yeah,
there's just no upside for him.
Yeah.
But I hope he does consider, having the conversation with anybody. There's a lot of questions there that, I mean, because they really only just kind of pierced the surface of that conversation, Tucker and Massey. And I think that that's a conversation that deserves a lot more attention. Let's talk a little bit more about this conversation that you started to have with Tucker Carlson about AIPAC handlers.
But to go back to your question, so years ago, I had this liberal person call me. It was a journalist because I was doing activism with my group. And I said to her, wouldn't it make more sense if we just split the country in half, Republican, Democrat? She's like, yeah, actually would. Why are we living among each other? What is this diversity nonsense? So that's where I got my idea long ago. Like, we should be living in states or cities where it's one party, one people, literally like National Socialism. Now, obviously, that's a Fiero principle. We could disagree on that. Again, it's not really an American principle. But there's no argument. Why would I want to live next to someone? If you're anti-abortion, right, and this one's pro-abortion, why would you even live under the same roof? You wouldn't want to be roommates. Why do you live on this? Why do your taxes have to go between each other? You shouldn't even live in the same country. So if you make these states sovereign and you all agree, look, we'll just not get blown up by other countries, then we just live alone. That's how it was from the beginning, and they destroyed all of that. So I promote sovereign nationalism. Live among your own people naturally. You want to be all in white people? Great. You want to mix? You go over there. You got to separate, because if you force diversity, like you and I, we don't care about different races. I don't give a shit about different people. But if you're forcing
what's the mechanism behind that, though? I mean, I agree idealistically with all of that, but what's the mechanism? Like, who's really leaving where they were born? Where they grew up, around their family. Yeah. Like, this would be like a mass movement of people.
Well, Stu, we saw it.
I agree with a mass movement of people.
Yeah.
We got to get these people out. Right down the street from our studio, I got a river. We've got barges that go. Trains. We've got barges that go. Well, I've got train tracks right here, too. Trains. They run every 45 minutes. They're always on time.
They're always on time.
But we've got the river. I mean, these people should be hemmed up by our military that we bring home, that does its job, which is to protect its people from a physical invasion, and then to stop anybody else from invading us, and go through our country, round these people up, and then just bring them to the river, the center point, Mississippi. They can go down to the Gulf of Mexico, out into the ocean, and whatever happens to them from there, I mean, is none of our business, I guess. Maybe they could treat that ship like the Jews treated the USS Liberty.
Yeah, well.
But there is a actual mechanism for mass deportation. There is an actual mechanism to rid this filth of our country and get this stain off of our homeland. We are not a construct. Like, this idea of a melting pot is is really a terrible thing for our country. We have a heritage, we have a culture. You know, everything societally that you see when you look around and you're like, this is great. You have to acknowledge that was white men that did that.
And white Christian men too. And I say
White
that
Christian men,
not even a Christian. I still respect and understand
what
that.
about, I mean, like some activism stuff that you could do is even in your school system, you know, like be in your principal's face at Black remembrance, Holocaust remembrance, whatever,
Black
all of this
Holocaust
bullshit.
remembrance, trannies, survivors,
Yes, like,
transgender Black Holocaust survivors.
Okay, great. That has to go. And we're not going to support that.
Stu, I mean, I bring up our friend Matty Wack. He believes this centralized old revolution. It's got to be decentralized. Little pockets of people.
Yeah, the only way this can work is decentralized.
I agree. And that's why
organizational they will crush.
So and going back to people don't want to move. Stu, during COVID, I have friends who lived in New Jersey and New York who literally fled to Florida. So people will move their ass when policies do no longer.
So
right, repatriation.
Not only just policies, but when they feel that their life is in danger.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you that right now, it doesn't matter what state or city you live in, your life is in danger.
Exactly. So we can absolutely create systems where, look, hey, you guys should move here because that's where all the liberals are, or all the people who want to put on masks over there, or whatever, trannies, and we're going to be over here. And who could argue against that? Why would you want to live? If I'm an anti-Semite, why would you even want to live next to me? Why?
So Massey introduced this legislation about dual citizenship.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good.
And it was, I don't know.
He knows. He has to. Come on.
Well, yeah, of course he does.
He got to know.
I'm not doubting that at all.
Yeah.
These people killed his wife.
Yeah.
You know, ostensibly, very plausibly. I don't think it goes far enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that just having to disclose that you have dual citizenship is enough. I think it should be illegal. You should be arrested. You should be tried before a military tribunal of American citizens. And if you're convicted of high crimes against humanity or treason, that you should be executed.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should be extreme or controversial to say. These people are traitors to our country.
You know, Stu, the thing about this movement as well is all about everything's a Fed post. You know, give me liberty, give me death. Is that a Fed post? Right. You know, like these are our forefathers. It's literally in our Constitution to abolish a tyrannical government.
Yeah.
What are we living under?
You're derelict in your duties if you don't do it.
Are we supposed to be like, oh, well, we can't type that out because the fact they're also changing what free speech is. See what I'm saying? First of all, only in a nation run by Jews would you pay for free speech. That's what we're doing with X, number one, right? And number two, like me, I never violated anything. All the things I said on Twitter, they were not incitement to hatred or violence. I did not even come close to the Brandenburg test, which determines what to incite violence. You have to literally be in a place where it could actually happen. It has to be realistic. When I said, Stu, I'm going to chop your head off through this phone. That's not even physically possible. So it's not really incite. It has to actually possibly happen. It has to. If I say, Stu, I'm coming over tomorrow with my shotgun to your house, 10 minutes down the street.
And you've got plane tickets.
And I'm going to blow your fucking head off. That's a probably investigation. I might not do it. But if I'm in a rally, like, let's get our guns right now, and everyone has guns, let's storm it, that's what they can get you on. So how can I do that through the internet? I mean, so again, they're trying to even change what it is to be violent.
Well, I mean, there's people serving over a decade in prison for a meme,
God, man.
You know, for memes. So,
it's so ridiculous.
This apparatus has shown that they will come down on you with the full weight of the U.S. government to crush you if you are a dissident and a threat to the continuation of this digital, virtual, financial enslavement and physical. So they will crush you.
And you know what else,
And if your movement or your role in some movement or suspected role, if you can be made an example out of.
Oh, they will. Absolutely. Right. And that's what Elon did to me. Here's 9 months total for just whatever. Okay. But here's the thing. Another thing I've noticed too in our cause is that we're starting to become isolationists. Oh, screw the Europeans or we don't need them. No, you see, we have a Jewish problem. It's global. We need a counterforce against Jewish supremacy.
Oh, you went like this. I saw it. I saw it.
Oh, wait.
You did.
This is called the steeple about confidence.
Wait. Have they Illuminati jacketed you yet?
Not yet, I don't think.
I got that from my picture as a rapper.
So listen, Stu.
When I was a rapper and I went, it's going to be okay, right? I was like 19.
Listen, here's what you need to do, okay? I want you guys to know. But
I knew nothing about that.
No.
Freemasonry is a huge problem. These
they
Jesuits,
exist.
Jesuits are a huge problem. The Pope, nobody's going to miss him.
No.
He's probably burning in hell right now. You know, and like these idol worship, Trump, I mean, all of this stuff, Elon, the Pope, it's got to go.
No.
And we have to get grounded in who we are as a people.
That's right.
Our race is extremely important.
Yeah.
Being white people, recognizing race realism, race enthusiasm. I am enthusiastic about my race. I think that being white is exceptional. I just wrote a children's book that's going to be published very soon called It's Really Fun to Be White. And it meets all of the children's book criteria. And I'm serious about getting it into libraries and public schools. Is there a book for white children? Yeah, there's a lot of them. You know what they teach white kids to do? Hate themselves for the color of their skin. Is there books for, troubled kids who've been beaten down by this system that's designed to beat them down? Yeah, to teach them that they're not really happy because they were born in the wrong body and they should go chop their genitalia off and mutilate themselves. I mean, so I think there needs to be representation for our people. I think that admitting that we are, being genocided actively is really important. I think it's probably the most important realization that you can make, and that it's not controversial or hyperbolic to know that and to understand that and to go research it until you really are convicted in it. Because once you're convicted and you really know, your speech to other people makes a difference.
Yes.
Your conversations change. The things that you do on a daily basis change. The decisions that you make in your life. Being white is wonderful.
Yeah.
And our country being white is very real.
Well, it was founded by literally white nationalists who were Christians, and that's the fact. There's no debating that.
So people write slander hit pieces like white Christian nationalist Stu Peters. Yeah. And so
it's a
great.
Fact. It's a fact.
Wonderful.
It shouldn't be like, oh, you're evil, you're gonna do something wrong. I think, when they say it's a problem for our democracy. Yeah, their democracy. You're a threat. You're a threat to their democracy, right? They don't see you part of their democracy.
Democracy is the threat.
It is, absolutely, yeah. It's the worst system of government.
The Marines went around, and you know better than anybody, for how long now, spreading democracy. What does that mean? Killing people,
that
bringing
is the
about
mechanism
death.
to bring Jewish supremacy, because the Jews, they come into a democracy as a minority, then they demand equal rights, and then they use nepotism and their own little. The Jews are known to create a state within a state. This is millennia of people saying this. Different people around different parts of the world who are sometimes enemies come to the same conclusions about these Jews. They do the same thing every single time. That meme is really a legit thing every single time. So when it comes to solutions, to really, the first thing I say, cleanse yourself of your fear. For those of you guys who are Christians and other religions, you believe in an afterlife, you better do your work here. Okay, if I were God, I'd say, were you a bitch and a coward? Were you scared of Jews? Were you scared of cancel culture? Why the fuck should I let you in these gates? I don't even know if there is an afterlife, and I'm doing the right thing. Why is my cross bigger than most Christians' cross? I'm not saying that arrogantly. I was Catholic for 23 years. I understand the religion. My father's Catholic. Everyone's super Catholic. Why is my cross, and I'm not even one who's like, I'm going to go to heaven. I'm doing this as the right thing, not only for me, but for my children and everyone else's children, including I met your wonderful, beautiful children. I want to protect them from this fucking parasite. So I'm not going to stop because someone's going to cancel me, swap me, take away processors. I don't give a shit about money. I don't care about fame. I just want to tell the truth to people, and I have to become a living example. So once you become a living example of a warrior without fear, then people go, I want to be like Lucas Gage. I want to be like Stu Peters. You've lost a lot too, Stu. Okay, you might not want to talk about everything you lost, but you have, and you're a good man. And I now know you personally, and I've seen it in your eyes. You have that conviction like I do. And people may say, oh, that's off-putting, that's too extreme. We are warriors, my friend. You were a bounty hunter. You're basically like me, a Marine. Dan was one of these guys. Jake's a fighter. There's a different style of people. So you mentioned different styles. We have intellectuals, important.
Yep.
But we also have fighters on the ground. We need warriors too. We need inspiration. Because again, all the information in the world won't change anything if you don't have people to fight. But all the barbarians in the world with no information, who are they going to fight, right? Each other. So we need both. Everyone in this movement has their purpose. And I really suggest that we need to start uniting with each other, knowing our places. Like in a well-oiled machine, we all have different cogs, not to look down at each other, not dismiss each other, and start using our influence to uplift each other. And like you said before, there are people who don't do that, and they need to start doing that. It's their obligation. Whether they agree with someone or not, they should not be gatekeeping or holding back. I don't know about this. Look, you and I don't agree on everything. It doesn't matter. We agree on the greatest threat. And if we don't take care of this greatest threat, our disagreements won't matter when we're in a fucking gulag.
Yeah, like I didn't see it as a big problem when, there was people like, in our movement, which has now been, it's broken into factions and it's been, compromised and infiltrated and, demoralized and everything else. But there were people that were really pissed off about Ian Carroll being on Joe Rogan. He's controlled opposition. Like, I'm like, dude, he talked about 9/11. He talked about the dancing Israelis. He talked about the USS Liberties to an audience that's not hearing these things.
That's correct.
I see that as a huge W.
Of course.
Is he controlled? Don't care.
I mean, whether he is or
I
not.
really honestly don't. I tell you, don't put your trust in anyone. Be happy that the information, so that these people can then go, wait a minute. Did that guy just say something on Joe Rogan about that? What is this dancing Israelis? And then they go look into it.
Exactly.
What is this about 9/11? You know, like what building 7? What is this? Like they go look. People don't have these conversations in real life because they're busy with their kids and going to hockey practice and, you know, like playing catch in the yard or teaching your children how to plant like vegetables and till land and hunt deer and go four-wheeling, off-roading. You know, like, I mean, people are busy doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things I like to do. You know, other people do different things.
Well, you know, it's to a lot of people, like you said, idealism. I'm idealistic, but I'm practical too.
And then there's a lot of, I don't want to hear that. Like, come on. Like, it's not bothering me. It hasn't, you know, it doesn't affect me. We've got a lot of the complacency and apathy, which is like really like the post-Vietnam boomer kind of mentality. And the boomers have put us into really, really bad positions in a lot of different ways. And that's just being honest. You know, like I love my mom, I love my dad, they're boomers, but you know, you guys really fucked up. And we're in a bad spot for this. And I don't think generationally that we or the generations that come after us should follow in those footsteps. I think that apathy is a huge killer. I think complacency is deadly. I think that living in a place of fear is demonic and it's weak. I don't serve a God of fear or confusion. I think that telling the truth and doing it unafraid and direct and not worrying about semantics or offending somebody as weak, I think it's pussy. And I think that, I mean, our enemy has intentionally inserted obesity and, you know, like fat idol worship, like these fat bitches that are on, you know, like magazines. She's so beautiful and curvaceous. No, she's not. She's hideous and she eats too much.
And she's unhealthy.
She's a fat, ugly pig and she's unhealthy and she's going to die and it's deadly. And it's Jewish, by the way. You know, so like we don't need to accept fatness and laziness and mediocrity, and we don't have to accept that, you know, this person might be a different color, but they're great. No, I don't want to live next to blacks, which is why I live where I live. And I don't want to live next to them because, you know, it's proven that they commit a lot more violent crime and that they explode like out of the blue and that they're just unpredictably violent people. We can go to a baseball game like my son's that you came to the other day and not have to worry about it breaking out into a
stabbed in the heart
brawl or something. You go to one of these high school like basketball games and these blacks are like fighting each other, like melees, police involved, like people dying. I don't want to live like that. Yeah. And I think it's okay to say that and it shouldn't be controversial.
Well, it's your human. Look, again, this goes back to my ideology of sovereign nationalism. You know, you're not sovereign if you cannot choose who you live among or don't live among.
And that's the country that I want to live in.
Exactly.
And so every day, every step, every move that I make, I'm making real life changes and giving real life opportunities for people to actually live that way in a lot of different ways. And I think that you're doing the same. And I think that that's why, you know, at the beginning of the conversation, I said, why are we even here together? Like what brings Lucas Gage and Stu Peters that grew up completely different on total opposite ends of the country, believed in different things. You were a Marine. I was a rapper. Like, I mean, it couldn't be two more opposite people that are now sitting on a couch talking to millions of people who are all thinking the things that we're saying. You need to start saying them out loud. And that's what brings us here together. That's what brings our entire movement together. This conversation is a representation of what needs to be happening amongst tens of millions of people. And that's the future for my country that I see that I want for our children's sake. And so I just appreciate everything that you do.
Stu, absolutely. Great to meet you, my friend. Thank you very much.
As Christians in a Christian country, we have a right to be, at minimum, agnostic about the leadership being all Jewishly occupied.
We literally should be at war with fucking Israel 100 times over, and instead we're just sending them money, and it's fucking craziness.
Look at the state of Israel, look at the state of Tel Aviv, and look at the state of Philadelphia. You tell me where this money's going. You tell me who's benefiting from this.
I am prepared to die in the battle fighting this monstrosity that would wish to enslave me and my family and steal away any rights to my property and to take away my God, go fuck yourself, will I submit to that.
And if you've got a foreign state, you've got dual citizens in your government, who do you think they're supporting?
God, right now, would you protect the nation of Israel and protect those of us, not just our church, but every church in the world and in this nation that's willing to put their neck on the line and say, we stand with them.
You can look at Trump's cabinet, you can Biden's cabinet, it's full of Jews.
I have a black friend in school. I have nothing against blacks. She has nothing against me. She understands where I'm coming from.
Excuse me, I'm a Jew, and I just like to say that, you know, in our Bible it says that you're like animals.
The Jews crucified our God.
What you listening to, son?
I don't think you like it.
Well, why not? I like this new generation of music.
J-Proof is Jew-proof.
J-Proof is Jew-proof. J-Proof is Jew-proof.
You go over to jproof.ai right now. You can get all of the information on everything Jproof. Matt Wallace on X just last night started tweeting about this because now it is news. It's news that everybody has remained completely quiet about a remedy and a solution for our movement and for our mission and for our army, and that all of the naysayers and everybody saying that Stu Peters is a scammer, Stu Peters is a rug puller. No, I will never Jew my people. Which is exactly why, after a surge to $200 million market cap value, J-Proof found its legitimate and authentic floor amongst its real holders, real warriors, a real army of based as hell, based warriors. $45 million floor. Yeah, we'll take it. Go to jproof.ai or don'tbeajew.com for more information.